Imagine signing a lease for a two-bedroom, two-bath apartment in Atlanta in 2007. Depending on the neighborhood, rent around $500 a month wasn't unusual. Fast forward to today, and similar apartments can easily command $2,200 a month or more. The apartment may not have doubled in size, the appliances may not be dramatically different. Yet the monthly cost of simply having a place to live has transformed in ways many households never anticipated. At the same time, wages have not increased at the same pace. While income has certainly risen for some workers, many people feel as though they are running faster just to remain in the same place financially. A single full-time job that once covered rent, groceries, transportation, utilities, and basic savings often no longer stretches that far. For some households, a second job becomes necessary. Others take on side work during evenings and weekends. Increasingly, people joke that it takes 3 jobs just to pay the bills. Beneath the humor lies a genuine sense of exhaustion. The math behind this feeling matters. If someone earned $40,000 per year in the past and devoted around 30% of their income to housing, the financial equation remained difficult but potentially manageable. But when rent climbs from hundreds of dollars into the thousands while paychecks grow incrementally rather than exponentially, housing begins consuming an ever larger share of monthly earnings. The problem isn't simply that people stopped budgeting. In many cases, the numbers themselves changed. Inflation adds another layer to the story. The price of groceries, healthcare, transportation, childcare, and utilities has increased across the country, although not uniformly. Different states experience these pressures differently. States with rapid population growth often face intense housing demand. States with high insurance costs, limited housing supply, or elevated property values may see additional upward pressure on rents. A person moving from one state to another may discover that the same salary produces dramatically different outcomes depending on local costs. Then there is taxation. Federal income taxes reduce take-home pay before a worker even begins paying monthly expenses. In many states, state income taxes further narrow disposable income. Sales taxes affect everyday purchases. Property taxes, although paid directly by homeowners, can indirectly influence renters because landlords frequently incorporate rising ownership costs into rental pricing structures. None of these taxes alone explain the affordability crisis, but together they shape how much money households actually have available after fulfilling their obligations. The result is a growing disconnect between what people earn and what daily life requires. Someone may technically receive raises over the course of a career, while simultaneously feeling less financially secure. That experience can be confusing because conventional wisdom often suggests that hard work naturally leads to stability. Yet when housing costs outpace wage growth and essential expenses continue rising, many individuals discover that effort alone does not fully determine outcomes. There is also a psychological consequence. Financial stress changes decision-making. People delay healthcare appointments, postpone family plans, avoid career risks, and remain in jobs they dislike because uncertainty becomes too expensive to navigate. Housing is more than a line item in a budget. It affects emotional well-being, relationships, and long-term planning. This does not mean that the situation is identical everywhere, or that every generation faces the same obstacles. Economic conditions differ across regions and over time. But understanding why rent feels unaffordable today requires looking beyond individual choices. It requires examining the interaction between wages, inflation, taxation, housing supply, investment incentives, and broader economic systems. The question isn't whether people are working hard enough. For millions of households, the evidence suggests they already are. The deeper question is what happens when the cost of basic necessities rises faster than the systems designed to support ordinary working lives. Because when shelter consumes an ever greater portion of income, affordability stops being a personal budgeting issue and becomes a conversation about the structure of the economy itself. But history also shows that economic systems are not fixed. Housing markets have evolved before, labor markets have adapted before, and public conversations about affordability have reshaped policies in the past. Understanding the forces behind today's rent crisis is not about assigning blame to individuals or assuming that hardship is inevitable. It is about recognizing that the challenges many households face are rooted in interconnected systems that can be studied, debated, and ultimately improved. The more clearly people understand the relationship between wages, housing, taxation, and the cost of living, the better equipped they become to participate in conversations about the future they want to build. Because lasting solutions rarely begin with simple answers. They begin with asking better questions about the systems that shape everyday life.